Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. This is an opportunity for me to share my ideas with regard to the education in the post-COVID-19. And of course, I will talk some of the problems and issues, then what could be the future options. And I will end up my presentation with these few notes. And, oh, what's the problem? Yes. Let me share the experience, what we have felt in the beginning. In the beginning, the initial thought was that it will not affect us. I mean, it was in other countries and the people were talking about it will not come to Nepal. And once it happened, the cases are appeared, then another thought was that there was a lockdown and will be ended in a few period of time, probably after a week. In the beginning, we authorities, we people do not have any plan. What we also thought that it will be ended soon. I mean, yeah, there was not any experiences to run educational activities in such pandemic, because in my lifetime, this is my first experience about this lockdown, and even long, about 70 days lockdown, and we being within a home, and this was probably to other people as well. Then gradually we started to move, means that we started to do something, but we had 3 levels of government. The coordination was not so effective in the beginning, even now in some areas. And we also realized that our systemic capacity is not so strong to address, to cope the challenges. And likewise, inadequate infrastructure, especially in IT areas. My previous colleagues, they also highlighted about the inadequacy of ICT related infrastructure, which is also challenge, which is also realization at this moment. And of course, resources, another pertinent area. In education, in a policy document, education is kept in Nepal in high priority, but in practice, we have not received the envelope it is intended to receive. If we see some of other indicators, which I should not talk during the time of COVID, but now these are also linking with the COVID, either one or another way. If let's talk about, if we talk about school hygiene, safety, social distancing, resilience, and all these things are relating with the infrastructure and socioeconomic status, socioeconomic condition of the household. If we talk about online or virtual, then of course it demands the equipments. Then the question is that whether the parents or household can afford all these equipments. If you see in Nepal, there are some of the situations which are, at this moment, it is very difficult to cope the strategies. Like there is a big gap between the rich and poor in terms of accessing to the equipments, and school infrastructures are not as per the requirement, and school buildings are not earthquake resistance. This water and sanitation, and there is one study carried out by Dawadi and et al. Then 56% people in Nepal have access to internet, and 13% schools are carrying out the online classes, and only 35% schools have access to internet. I mean, this is the latest study which I cited. I mean, this is also, we need to take care of all these while we're talking about the future options. I mean, before COVID, there were some standards and some strength and some weaknesses. And after COVID, the schools are closed, education institutions are closed, and children are locked up in a home. And poorer people poorer children from poorer households are further marginalized. And teachers' capacity is another issue. So there are even more alarming situations after the COVID, during the COVID situations. When we talk about the future options, we certainly need to talk about, we certainly need to take care of all these situations. So this is the case during the COVID-19, and that's the majority of the people does not have internet access, even radio, even television. And the question is that how can we support them is the big problem. There are some studies carried out by UNICEF, and there are some studies carried out by others. Small surveys, they indicated that only, even it's very difficult to address the need of the children, 1/3 maybe access of the IT facilities, online or virtual needs. What I found, the reality is like that. There are very few portion of students, they can have access, they can enjoy with the virtual and online classes, and similarly, the hierarchy will be like that. The traditional model, majority of the students are within this category. But illusion, I would like to say illusion is that now everybody can go into the virtual mode, into the online mode. I mean, that's the illusion sort of things. The reality is one thing, then the people's perception and some of the, people's ideas are like that. We should move, we should jump into the new system that is virtual and online. So, the people which do not have access of all these virtual, online, TV and radio, we need to give focus for that. So we need to know the reality rather than we need to enjoy with the illusion. We also need to see the capacity of the teacher. We also need to see the, schools infrastructure. So all these data justify that in Nepal. And we still need to rely on the traditional modes of contacting teachers in order to run the educational activities, meaning that there could be school clustering, student clustering, or envelope using postal services, or there could be other things. But we need to give priority for those students which do not have access of these other three modern technologies. That's the reality. Though what efforts, what government have done during this time, governments mean federal government, provincial and local government. I mean, as I told already in the beginning, we thought that it will be ended up soon. Even we thought that. Then in the meantime, some of the schools and local government started use of radio and FM to deliver the lessons in their own way at the local level. And in the meantime, government issued some instructions, some exams were postponed, and some exams were delayed, and some instructions were given. Then despite all these challenges, and we have some institutions like Nepal Open University, and some of the schools of Kathmandu University, and some private institutions, they have been running their educational program without any disruption, without any delay. I mean, there are some examples they are doing. That we can share these notes. And in the meantime, there are increases in the use of IT tools. From one way, teachers have made some self-help group, and some organizations came to support, some INGOs, some non-governmental organizations, governments also provide supports, and we can say that the use of IT tools are being increased. But the shift, the thinking, now people realize that we should move from traditional modes to the distance learning, I mean virtual modes. So the perception is being changed. But till now, in 6 months period, some of the institutions, I mean higher education institutions and some other school institutions also took a rest for the entire period. I mean, they did not have done any effort. I should say that, I mean, we should all work in order to combat with this situation. That's the effort, what we did till now. And what are the effects? I should not explain all these things. Learning our losses is the main one that can be grouped under the educational or academic. Now there is a threat to the academic calendar, whether we can continue the academic calendar or not. And now the government has recently issued a circular and that gives some hope that we can continue, we can run the educational academic year. We should not lose it. So there are some social aspects like losses of income and family bonding issue, distancing and all these things. Some of the people are abroad, they are willing to come Nepal, but they are not getting chance. Their families are here. I mean, even movements are restricted, and that also affected some problems. And there, in Nepal, I have not seen some major studies, though UNICEF has done something about the psychological aspect, psychological effect that resulted because of the lockdown and all these COVID-19 issues. These are also big, although we have not counted, we are not able to counter them. There are some financial aspects, financial effect as well. Those implies
time reminder, you have 5 minutes left. Thank you.
Those who are working in private institutions, their salary issue, and of course there are rising pressure on poor infrastructure. And because of all these COVID issues, other major issues are overshadowed. And these are the effects what we have been experiencing. And these are some of the studies carried out by UNICEF, and these are the effects they have highlighted. I will not go in detail. So what lessons we learn? We need a strong institutions. If we see the hospital, private and public, I should not explain more. We need a short value chain. We cannot bring a student from distance, and we need to go into the school clustering, and hygiene facilities in public institutions are the must. We need a strong and responsive education system and national framework, and response at the local level. Responsibility should be given to the local government. And we also need a strong database, and we also realize that one size does not fit at all. And capacity of the public institution is still a matter. And we also should learn from other countries what they have been doing, radarring on the evidences. So still we have challenges ahead, and cybersecurity, psychological, child psychology, financial pressure, and how can we maintain the equity? These are the challenges. And what are the options for us? Option one, and we should wait. And once the COVID will be over, then we can start the academic year. I think that is not the consideration of the government at this moment. Option two, we should start plan to run the educational activities. I mean, not opening the schools. Schools may not be open, but we should think about how can we run the educational activities. And we need a two plan, one for school education and next is for the higher education. Higher education institutions should themselves prepare the plan, and government should provide support. For school education, this is the mandatory, and school education, government should prepare the plan like a condensing curriculum, guideline, workbooks, worksheet, and design teacher support system. Till now, we have not been talking too much about it. And local government should be given authority to choose the measures, what is the appropriate for them, and use of cluster approach, volunteers and partnership, and all these things are there. And in the long run, this is the immediate one. In the long run, we need to think about how can we develop the resilient system. Then we need to, how can we create the strong local institution at the local level, and we also need to think about national framework and strong database at the each level, but we must need it at the local level. And what we are thinking that now we need to develop, we need to design the IT support group. We need to form IT support group at the local level to support school teachers and parents. And government also need to think about expanding IC facilities by collaborating with IT providers. And we also need to think about providing subsidies to the students and teachers, because everybody may not afford all these costs associated with the connectivity issues. And we also need to think digitization of the curriculum guideline. Till now, we are not talking about assessment. Assessment in online system is also one area that is a consideration we also need to think. And at the end, not the least one, the integrated approach. Now, we cannot only talk about education. We need to combine education, health, safety, nutrition, and psychological support together with the ICT. Means we need to develop the integrated approach which can be delivered at the school level, at the classroom level. I mean, this is the medium-term and long-term strategies government is thinking to carry out. And in the short run, we need to go with the action plan immediately, and we need to implement it. I would like to record it we should not talk about the opening of a school. We should talk about the running educational activities through different modes. That is the priority at this moment. Thank you. Thank you.